Welcome everyone to another commentated card fight, once again in the 2-deck format. It's been a while since we've taken a look at this. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Trigger Twice VGCS. So this one was organized by WCC, so either Wirab Cardfight Crew or World Class Cardfighters, sorry. So, like, whichever one you want them to go by, that's who they are. So this was organized very recently, right after the release of VBO6. And so today we're going to have a matchup between Thanh Pham, I'm not sure if I pronounced his name correctly, and Chang. And so we're starting off with a Bermuda mirror match, showing that, even in the 2-deck format, it's really your best deck pick. And I think, statistically, if you really want to have a second deck to go for, then you'll probably pick Kagero, but we'll see what they pick as their second deck after this first match. So we see that Tran did go first, and so he goes into the Minne and is able to draw 2 and return just 1 since he has the matching rearguard. So that's definitely a very solid start for him because he already managed to get a +1 before even, anything else. Obviously, riding into the Lieselot does provide a similar kind of bonus, but obviously that's a very strong kind of start. And so just something to clarify for the first game here, at one point the camera, it was Derek Dow that recorded, oh wow, he gets the Lieselot too, that's a very strong start. But so the camera at one point did actually give out, so we'll be like switching between the camera footage that you see now and then to the stream footage, which will be a little bit less clear a bit later on. But so we're going to see exactly how that's going to look, but don't worry, it's still going to be fine. You'll still be able to see the whole game, so nothing to worry about there. So here he went Lieselot into Lieselot, and then I'm pretty sure he called that Sierre from his hand, and then the Sierre allowed him to reveal 1 grade 3 in Soul Blast 1 and then search for that Fina that he just added to his hand, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, he revealed the Sonata and he found the Fina, so that's definitely good. He gets another Sierre. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, shows the Sonata. This is a really strong turn too, like he's able to +1 from the Minne, he's already +1 from the Lieselot, and he's still going to be able to plus another 1 from each of the Sierres. There he finds the Caro as well, so that's a really strong start for Tran. Definitely something that's going to be very threatening and should have the momentum to actually win him the game potentially, because the thing is about the Bermuda mirror match in standard is that whoever is faster is basically going to win. Like, oh yeah, and you just saw the cut there to the stream footage, so it's a little bit less clear unfortunately, but it's only going to be here for a couple minutes, so don't worry too much. We're going to go back to the normal footage after this first round, so it's all good. And so we see that Trang got a crit there as well, which is definitely very huge in winning this first match. There's going to be a huge attack as well that he can stop thanks to getting a defensive, I think, but in the end, that's still going to be a huge number he has to guard, so he does guard it efficiently, good for him. And so Marcus will now go into his turn 2, and let's see what he gets. He rides into the Broom. That's not going to be doing too much compared to what Tran has done. Oh, and he just swings. That is a huge difference in early game. He's just going to intercept for a 1 to pass, and he gets himself a Stetsa and passes turn. Tran is looking really solid in this game just because, like, having that early game and now riding into Sonata and basically just like searching whatever. I mean, oh, he rides the Fina. That's interesting, actually. I mean, it's not a wrong choice by any means, but it's just interesting that he chose to do that. So maybe he'll drop something else that needs to hit to actually get an effect off. Nope, he's dropping the Caro to have a bit of an extra boost. So he could go more aggressive here. He could have ridden Sonata, searched something, but he doesn't have any counterblast, so that would make, that's the reason why Marcus attacked rearguard, to not give him the counterblast to actually do the Sonata. A lot of people that play against Bermuda do that as well. And, with Marcus piloting the deck himself, I'm sure he knows what his opponent wants as well. So, pretty great game we have so far here. We see a Seer, and I think that was a heal or a crit to come off from, yeah, pretty sure that was a heal coming off Tan's drive check, sorry. And so this is interesting. As I was saying about the mirror match, it's like whoever is faster in the Bermuda mirror match will usually be winning it, just because it's like, that's why some people play cards like the Eno, because it's an aggressive, start to the game. Like, you can be aggressive from turn 2 immediately and, just push your opponent really hard, because both decks are doing the same thing, but it's who does it faster is the one that's going to be winning it. So we see Marcus gets the first card Sonata, which is a Caro. Here we switch back to the normal footage, and so definitely very nice to be top decking that Caro. We don't know the rest of his hand, but if he has another Sonata, another Caro, that's already going to be huge columns, because we'll be getting a 10k buff on the front row and then a 20k buff or something on the back row. He calls 2 Serenas, that's interesting, and he calls another Caro, that's also good. The only thing here is that this Sonata will only be 18k, so that's a little bit unfortunate, but regardless, that's definitely very nice. So let's see, he's gonna attack with the Serena here, which is 18 plus, so that's what, 26 on its own, plus the 15 total, I think, that they get. So yeah, that's going to be pretty huge. He's going to attack again, this time just attacking with rear guards. He drew 1 from the Serena. That's the thing they were clarifying, whether him hitting with Serena, would he be allowed to draw 2 or not, just because it's like they're technically both there. But yeah, so I'm not sure actually if he was supposed to draw just 1 there, or if it was actually supposed to be 2, but he did draw 1 in the end. So now this one is swinging for just an 18k, pretty sad number. So he swung with rear guards first, which is a bit interesting. I feel like he could have swung with the lowest Vanguard at first, you know, put any triggers he had on the rear guards and then continue. But it doesn't get any triggers anyway, so that wouldn't have made a difference. But I think just like theoretically speaking, it would have been a little bit different in that sense. So let's see. Tan is gonna be resuming his turn, rides into the Sonata finally. Also, I should note that Marcus did turn his force sideways, but it's still force 1. This is after the VBO6 meta, or release, so force 2, axle 2, protect 2 aren't out just yet, but they will be out after the next booster. So here we're still playing with force 1, so that's just something important to note. Another interesting thing, as Tan finds the the Fina off of the Sonata. But one thing that's quite interesting is that in this tournament, in the top 4, if I'm not mistaken, we actually had a Brandt in the top 4, and that was either top 8 or top 4, I can't remember exactly, but there's the full stream available on the WCC channel, which I'll leave a link in the description. You can check out the whole thing if you want. It's, you know, a whole day full of exciting footage, and so it's really nice. And the fact that Brandt made so far is actually really cool. Like, it was really fun to see the deck on stream as well. It came up on stream a couple times, and it was just really nice to see it. So Brandt putting in work and showing that it's not all just luck. It's actually a very strong Link Joker deck to, you know, to fear in a sense. So we see Tan gets the crit there, gets a second crit, puts everything to Vanguards. That's probably going to be the end of game 1 unless he gets a heal. That is not a heal. Tan takes game 1, and Marcus does have to shuffle his stuff up now as well. So Tan will now be putting away his Bermuda deck, so that's how 2-deck works. So once you win with a deck, you put it away, and you have to win with your second deck. So now Tan will be switching into his second deck, and we'll get to see what exactly it's gonna be. So I don't know, I mean I actually do know, but we're gonna see in this footage what it actually is. And now Marcus is looking to definitely, I think he wants to go first next time, because no matter what that deck is, you want to just push them with Bermuda, like from the very first, like, grade 3 right turn, try to end the game there. And he seems to have a good early rush, potentially. He does run the Broom, which I don't see in that many of the Melody lists these days, so we'll see. But that was a really fast game 1, and so now the kind of interruption of the footage will be stopping as well. Just because it was just there at the start because the camera was giving out, but here it is going to be fine. So no more interruptions from here on out. We're doing a little bit of a pile shuffle here, so just to make sure that the decks are properly randomized. But so talking about these two players themselves, neither Tan nor Marcus have incredible BCS tops, but they do have quite a lot of experience in terms of playing in the BCS level, so they do have a lot of this top level experience in terms of playing. And so I think it's quite amazing that in a tournament full of top players, they managed, I'm sure there was a lot of competition going for these top 2 spots, and so the fact that they managed to win through the whole day with 2 different decks, it's mentally straining in that sense. And so being able to make it through the whole day and then end up in the finals is definitely a huge feat for both players, so I think they definitely need to be celebrated in that sense. And so we know that both of them do also play, or I believe it was just Marcus that actually also plays a bit of Pokemon TCG on the side, which is obviously a very nice thing. So they also have experience in Vanguard, as already mentioned, but I think it's just great that, despite all the big competition that was present in the day, they still made it out to the finals. And so it's really cool. I think it's great that WCC also organized this event. They hyped it up a lot. They have a lot of partners going into this event too. And I did want to provide some commentary for the finals too, because it was a really exciting final. And so the whole day was really exciting. If I had time, I would commentate more, but so we're just going to be settling for the final, especially because it's 2-deck. We essentially get 2 to 3 full games, and so we're going to see how long this game 2 is, and whether we go to a game 3 or not. So Tan does reveal that he plays Shadows, despite having Year Chronicle Vanguard sleeves. He is playing Shadows, so that's going to be an interesting matchup. Actually, it's technically a good matchup because being able to retire the opponents like Sonatas, Karos, like Finas, etc. is going to be really strong. Like Phantom Blaster could just wipe out a lot of the annoying targets, and so the opponent has to think carefully about that. That's part of the reason why I think Narukami has a strong matchup against Bermuda too, because you can specifically target their like Sonatas and Karos and Finas in the front row, and then you can even pull up stuff like Sierra from the back row, like, and just like bind it. So, and then they can't even recycle it with Stetsa. So here with the Shadow matchup, it's like you do nuke the board, but the thing is that they do have the recycling available through Stetsa, because those units will be hitting the drop zone first. So Marcus is going to be going first. He's going to draw and ride into the grade 1 that cycles. He's going to draw an extra card and then be able to discard 1. So, I think that's a pretty strong start. You know, he goes for the Lieselot as well. Gets just the draw, he chooses to call it, not to soul charge it, which, you know, is fine. I think he shuffled through a second Lieselot in his hand, so it makes sense why he did that. And then we see he rode the Swordbreaker and then seemed to be pretty annoyed there. I'm not sure why that was. Gets another Swordbreaker there. And then we see Marcus riding into the Lieselot. He's just going to call down the heal. That's definitely a good move because his opponent is on the Swordbreaker. And so he's going to be able to push now with the Lieselot. This is a really strong early game. And he's going to let that through as well. Still no triggers. 15k is hitting for that third damage. No defensive triggers. Tan is just soaking up damage. And it hasn't even been turn 2 yet. Like, that's actually crazy. So he hasn't even ridden grade 2 and he's already been getting absolutely bombarded. And now Tan is going to be able to counterblast 1 and force Marcus to retire something. Obviously the heal is going to be coming off, and so he won't be able to use the other skill of Blaster Dark to actually, you know, get the extra drive check because Marcus still has 2 rear guards left and the one in the back is basically untouchable. So he's using Maka to counterblast 1 and call down the Swordbreaker and draw 1, and then use the Swordbreaker skill to draw an extra card, and because she was called from hand, get an additional 5k boost. So attacks for the 10 against the Lieselot, attacks for the 10 against the Vanguard Lieselot, lets that through, gets the Blaster Dark, and that draw trigger comes down, does blocking the Maka's attack. Tan does not look too happy there. So Marcus now has 1 damage to work with. That's definitely enough to do your first grade 3 ride. Just go into that Sonata, search something, find something, you know, maybe have a Seer in hand to be able to do something else. And so he's going to go into the Sonata, he's going to counterblast 1, soul blast 1, and he's going to be able to check the top cards until he finds a Melody, finds the Caro again. That's definitely very good. We saw Mine there as well, so it does confirm that he also plays it. Most of the Melody players I've seen actually do play Mine. I think she's a very important card, and her condition is pretty easy to set up, especially, you know, to not, you know, go into the minus with her other skill. Calls down the Fina here as well as that Serena. And then a Lieselot is coming down just for that Soul Charge, which I think is fine. Eventually you do run out of Soul Charge with the skill, just because, well, you know, it is, you do need Soul for the Sonata every single turn, and for the Sierra as well, if you plan to use her more than once. And so now he's going to tackle the Sonata, gets a Sonata and a Sierra, and he still has a Lieselot boosting with the Fina, who has an extra 5k, no, actually 10k, so she's a 23k booster, so this is a 33k attack, and he's going to be able to guard that because Tan did get the defensive, so it does go up to 35. Tan is not pleased, he's not drawing into the right cards. Oh, I'm pretty sure you wanted to have the Phantom Blaster there, and he definitely did, because the Phantom Blaster there would have cleaned up 3 units. Even if it was like Lieselot, the PG, and the Serena, that would have been still a strong retire, because any retire against Bermuda is going to be good. So I think Marcus maybe even set up that field, you know, waiting for the PBD, and not seeing that PBD might have been what kind of, you know, just relieved him now, so maybe he'll be able to finish off the game, because right now we're looking at a 4-1 in terms of damage count, and Marcus has a full field. He can still go. Obviously he's gonna lose a couple of units now through the not the Gauntlet Buster, the Gust Blaster, same abbreviation, and so we're gonna see that Tan is gonna attack with Blaster Dark to the rearguard Serena. Here he's gonna use the Gust Blaster to force Marcus to retire the Lieselot that he had in the front, and he's going to be able to check. Let's see, in the main and the Maka, no triggers there. Marcus gets a defensive as well. He's still on 2 damage, so Tan's just going to pass. This Maka has been cucked for like 2 turns now. Like, she was already blocked last turn from the defensive, and now this turn as well. We see that Marcus is using his Sonata once again to find another Caro, calls it behind Vanguard. Now we have an extra 10k on the boosters and another 5k on all Melody units through Sonata. So definitely very strong. Marcus has exactly enough counterblast to do what he wants, basically. He probably still has more cards. He has a Serena and a Sonata as well, so that's going to be a plus 20k boost to the back row with a 10k boost to the front row, and so that's definitely very huge. So this is attacking for a 26, plus the 10 from Sonata. I don't even have to count, the crit's already coming down. He's already ending the game here. Does he get a heal? Oh wait, well, nah, that wasn't the heal. Okay, wow, that was a really fast game too. So it's pretty sad because we're kind of seeing like both players borderline brick, or not really brick, but just like not find the right targets, not find the right cards in the games that they lose. So this game 3 is going to be interesting. Will we see a repeat of what's just been happening? Like, we just had 2 7-minute games. Like, those 2 games finished in 15 minutes total, like not even actually. And so the fact that they ended so fast is, you know, pretty amazing. So Marcus now will be switching out. He does have to go into his second deck, so we're going to see what's the second clan that he brought into the tournament. And so what is he going to bring against the shadows that Tan has equipped as well? So going to be interesting. He does have a lot of full art trainers for his protect. I spoiled it. Yeah, for his markers rather. It was the same for his shadows as well. No, shadows for his Bermuda as well. And so we see that Marcus does reveal the Angel Feather as a second deck. Also a solid pick. You know, it's not Kagero levels of solid, but it's still a strong deck. Like, especially against shadows where you really just need that 1 PG per turn, you know, kind of thing, against like PBD or against like the Gust Blaster. Is definitely a solid pick. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be able to survive the game, and we're gonna see how this game is gonna pace out, because even then, you know, having said that, shadows aren't that bad against angels either. Like, being able to retire things like the Feather Palace, I mean, not specifically retire, but if your opponent doesn't have a lot of other rear guards, then they will be pressured into retiring the Feather Palace. And so getting rid of annoying targets and still, you know, forcing the opponent to guard for a lot and always have protect in hand will prove to be an interesting matchup. So definitely interesting here. A bit unfortunate that we don't get to see any of the VBO6 clans in the finals, so no Kagero, no Blasters. I mean, that's not one to really expect. Nova Grappler also needs the VBO7 support to really become good. And then, I mean, yeah, Link Joker, as I said already, Brant was in the tops, and so did show a really good result for that day. So now we're going to see, they're still shuffling, but this is going to be an interesting matchup. I believe Tan will be going first, which is definitely something you want, because that way you can pressure the opponent with the PBD or the Gust Blaster before they even have a Protect marker, which is definitely very good. However, Angel's going second does mean that if there's a Zerakill in the damage zone, they'll be able to ride up for free. So that's something to keep in mind as well. You know, Angel players don't often mind going second, depending on what the deck that they're facing, but overall, it's definitely not the worst kind of thing. So just shuffling each other's decks, making sure it's all nice and shuffled, all nice and fair. And so we're going to be going into the game 3 now. Both players will be drawing their opening 5 cards, and we'll have the choice to mulligan. Marcus mulligans 1, we see a mulligan of 3 from Tan, and let's see where this game is going to go. So we see an interesting hand from Tan. He did have the Blaster Dark, so that's, you know, potentially going to be a good start for him, especially, you know, going first. He should be able to get that drive check. And he's not playing his Bermuda, which can just like drop a random Lethal Lot on turn 1, you know, and then just kind of, well, steamroll and have a bunch of units that are hard to retire so early on as well. So we're going to see how this matchup is going to pace out. I'm definitely excited to see how it's going to go, especially after those 2 really fast games. Like, those 2 games were fast. So hopefully this third one will be a bit, well, not slower, but just will be a bit more paced out, because both these games have now been ending. I think both of them ended on turn 4 actually. So pretty interesting, you know, says something about the current meta. But I mean, the meta in Standard changes all the time. Like, it's decks just become like supported, and then they're suddenly meta, and then, you know, 2 months later they're still good but not as good. Like, as we can see, I mean, with Shadows and with Angels, the support for these clans released quite a while ago now, but they're still, you know, up here on the top tables, so it doesn't really mean that it's like, oh, they're bad after 2 sets of other support come out, you know. But they're definitely not like the most popular picks for like a single event, but for something like a 2-deck VGCS, obviously it's definitely going to be great. So Tan has a really strong opening here. I didn't even comment on that. So he actually has the main to start with, and that's really, really good. And then on top of that, like, he's already searched the second main, so he's like deck thinning, reveals a crit by accident here. And so Marcus will be going second. Let's see what he decides to ride into. So here he goes for, oh no, I forgot my Angel Feather names. Goes into the damage swapper here, and then calls down the Pegasus. Pegasus swings for an 8. Tan does take it for the 1 damage, and then swings with, and gets the draw trigger there as well. Definitely very strong. And then Tan is going to be resuming. Going to be able to ride the Blaster Dark if he wants to. I think it's definitely worth it, because it's pretty easy for him to retire something. Yep. Retire the pony, and then he's going to be able to, if he has a Maka, he could still call her down and use her skill here too. Oh, it is the Trumpeter. That's interesting too. So I think before anything, he should be using the main skill just to filter the deck a little bit. I think he should have filtered the deck there just because it means that he won't be drawing into one of his targets for the main. So I think that's a little bit of a mistake there. I mean, it's nothing major, but I mean, it's just kind of like you want to be drawing into the best possible things that you cannot like search out of this, or like you don't want to be like drawing into the targets that you want to be searching, whether it be like another main or another Swordbreaker, like etc. Search is the third main, definitely a good choice there. The Blaster Dark's going to attack with 2 drive checks anyways. It doesn't necessarily need the 5k booster, and it's only 5k, so it's not that dramatic. And so definitely fine in that sense, so nothing to worry about. The Trumpeter does get an extra boost as well, and so now the Blaster Dark will be attacking soon, but not yet because he does have to discard that Maka. So it's interesting that he chose to not call that Maka, but he uses Swordbreaker, so there's no real point. Gets the Phantom Blaster Dragon, that's good. He sees a crit as well, so obviously that's definitely super strong. Maybe Marcus should have guarded that too, because it was only a 10k, like a 15k does make it 2 to pass. And you know, even if the Blaster Dark does have 2 drive checks, it's like you still have to deal with these next 2 attacks. But he got a defensive, so he can just guard it with a 10k on that first attack, and now this next attack he will be taking. So he gets a heal, which is pretty good. He was on 3 damage, so he can actually heal, so that's definitely quite nice. Tan still has a full field, does end his turn. Marcus goes into the Artron. God, I really did forget my Angel Feather names. Gets out the pony, sees a Metatron, that's definitely very cool. And so that's a good start. Like, that's a good turn 2 for him as well. We can still, you know, call down more things, but we see a couple PGs in his hand already, and the Metatron for next turn. Not sure if he sees the Zera kill. He would like to damage check that until, you know, by the time he has to ride up to grade 3 for sure, because, you know, that just means that he can get an extra ride either for free, or he can ride on top of the Metatron after riding on just on her by default. So let's see what he does get here. So he gets that 1 drive check, attacks with the pony, puts Tan to 3 damage, but he does get a heal, so he's going to go back down to 2, and he's going to choose to heal off the main. Tan is going to go back to his turn with still 4 rear guards on his board, so not really diminished in any means, by any means rather. So he's going to be able to potentially like search out something within the main, then sack everything with, you don't really want to sack everything with Phantom Blaster here actually. I mean, if your opponent has 1 rear guard, does the crit pressure matter that much? Maybe he wins the game here. I mean, Tan knows that there's a PG in Marcus's hand because he drive checked it, so I think he should be cautious about that here. But if he forgot, then that might mean that he's going to go for it, because he might think like, well, my opponent hasn't had a protect yet, so I can try and pressure them with a crit, and then, you know, if I check a couple other crits and they can't guard this, then that might even be GG. So we'll see what Tan decides to do here. He searches another Swordbreaker. Let's see if he uses her here or not. I think it's actually fine to use her, because using the PBD is not a good idea, so drawing that extra card will definitely be more beneficial. He does seem to want to do it. He is counterblasting. No, he's using the Phantom Blaster. So 3 for 1. I don't know if he forgot about that PG or not. We see Marcus rearranging his hand to make sure the PG is out on front. Attacks for the 10. Marcus can easily let this through as well. So he does let it through, gets another of the Pegasi. There goes Marcus's PG. We see a draw come down for Tan. He's going to be able to draw an extra card, give the power to Swordbreaker, finds another Swordbreaker. That's the 3rd one we've seen so far. That's quite a few Swordbreakers. And so now he's going to take the 4th damage, well, deal the 4th damage to Marcus, and so be able to pass his turn. So not sure if that PBD was a good idea. Like, it wouldn't have changed that turn too much. I mean, you get 1 PG out if that was his objective, but I'm not sure if it really should be the objective in that sense. So Marcus will be putting back his crit in exchange for getting a heal. He does not want to be healing away that Metatron that's faced on his damage zone. He does want to find that and add it to his hand to ride up next turn. He has another Metatron in his hand already ready for next turn, so we'll see what he does. If he checks another heal here, he'll be a bit sad, just because like he's probably not going to want to take away that Metatron, but he does not. So now he's attacking with the 15k Zera kill, so let's see what is gonna happen here. So attacking the Maka, definitely a good call, because you don't want to give too much damage to Shadows. Like, keep them limited, make sure that they can only do like either PBD, either Gust Blaster, either Maka, either Blaster Dark. Like, keep them limited, don't let them do too much. Obviously, if they have Maka Karen, that they can obviously, you know, circumvent that. But he's gonna ride it to the Gust Blaster. Definitely a good curve going for him right now, because he already has the extra crit now going for Gust Blaster, just because he does have the Blaster in his soul. So that's definitely very good. Tan is now deciding on what to call in his second force, calls down the Trumpeter, or maybe not. So he takes that back. Let's see, he's going to call down the Maka. Does he have the Karen? That's important. Oh, he almost started attacking, but then he was like, oh wait, Nemain is the thing. So let's see, I think he doesn't have any more targets. That's probably why he's hesitating right now. But let's see, because, ooh, I mean, he could search triggers, but it's not the most optimal thing. But I don't think he's going to use the Nemain. I'm pretty sure he's already used up what he could. So here he's going to just swing with this, what is it, 20k attack on the Zerakiel, just for, you know, retiring her, and Marcus isn't protecting against it either, so that's something. And so now Tan will be able to attack with the Gust Blaster, chooses not to actually. That's interesting. So he's going to attack with the Maka first, so that's a 25k attack because he didn't use her skill. Marcus will be taking 1 damage, gets a crit, so that's a defensive. Now he's on 23. Tan will be retiring the draw as well as the Swordbreaker he had, and is met with a Protect. So the, you know, no guard restrict memes are real in that sense. And so Tan's gonna just pass turn. You know, it was a fair attempt. You know, he got to control the board a little bit. Well, not really, because he attacked into that Zerakiel, so that didn't do too much. But he got the crit pressure. Like, obviously, making your opponent nearly lose is always important. And here he's not able to actually, well, he's not, well, no, he was able to heal. Sorry, that was my bad. But he did put back the heal, get himself another Aratron. And here we're gonna see, oh wait, no, it is not Aratron. God, I am bad with names somehow. Like, it's always with angels that they always seem very similar in name. And especially with like the Celestial era, I didn't play Celestials back in the day, so that's why my names are a little bit rusty in that sense, so apologies for that. But he's swinging with the 27k, ooh, gets an extra crit here as well, so Tan's gonna be taking 2 damage, gets a draw there, draws into the Gust Blaster, and I think that was a Blaster Dark there that went to the damage zone as well. He's gonna be able to attack with the Pony here, swinging for a 24 if I'm not mistaken, because I think he put the trigger on that Pony as well, so 5 damage that Tan is sitting on. He needs to be able to guard these attacks. I'm pretty sure it's not a problem for him because he got a defensive, just drops a 5k, no problem, no biggie. So here let's see if he's going to use the Pony, because I don't think you should, just because his opponent might counterblast starve him, not be able to use the Metatron. That might be pretty sad, so he wants to definitely keep that damage open so that if, you know, his opponent only gives him 1 damage next turn, he can still use the Metatron, and that's all that really matters here. So guards with the Swordbreaker, has the Gust Blaster in hand, and he's going to be able to re-ride into it just like that and go for another force marker. Let's see if he puts it on the Vanguard circle or if he's going to keep going on the sides. So I think here it's fine to put it on the Vanguard circle by now, because now, I mean, even if he's protecting against the Vanguard, but I guess if you can literally see that protect, it's not as worth it. But I understand why he does, just because it's like you still want to build enough power to force that protect. You know, you don't want it to just be like, oh, you can drop like a heal in the crit just to guard it. You know, you'd rather force that protect, make sure that they only have 1 protect in hand at all times, or like 0, like you're forcing out 1 protect every single turn. That's kind of the goal here. So definitely fine, definitely understandable. And so he calls out another Swordbreaker, as he did, and there goes, I can't really see what that card is actually. Is it the Bat? I'm not too sure, just because it's like, my quality as I commentate is a little bit lower, so that's another thing. So here he's attacking for the 20 with the Swordbreaker, gonna take that 1 damage to have the Metatron for next turn. Here he's gonna be able to just drop the Protect for this not Gauntlet Buster, god, Gust Blaster, the same abbreviation, guys, come on, it's so easy to say it, especially with the Gust Blaster, the Gauntlet Buster hype, oh my god, it went 2-way. So, PBD and PG coming down for Tan, getting an extra card, definitely nice, good to have. And so puts the power on the Maka, gonna be able to swing with the Maka here, probably want to go for a rear guard, but actually I don't know, just because like, obviously he can already use the Metatron, I don't know if he has another one, but I think he does, and so yeah, that's kind of like, I don't know, maybe it would have been wise to push him to 5, but then Tan puts himself out of heal range, and right now he is putting Marcus out of heal range, unless he heals with the Metatron, of course, so that's something to consider. Now Marcus has to decide if he wants to stay. Nope, he rides the Zerakiel, he does not want to stay on that simple, well, to stay there and try to check for a third trigger, essentially, with Metatron skill. Calls down the Feather Palace, because it does have 2 grade 3s in the soul, so he might be able to try to force game here. Let's see, attacks with just the 15k Zerakiel. He does have to still guard this. Tan didn't check any heals, so he's gonna drop a 15k here. So that's going to be just a, well, yeah, the 15k is enough to guard it, but he puts a crit on the Feather Palace. It's going to be pretty big because there is a guard restrict attached to it. He is not able to, Marcus isn't able to use the pony here just because he didn't swap damage this turn, but he is able to use the Feather Palace, the Soul Blast 2, and be able to, well, you know, perform the guard restrict, add a bunch of extra power, and gain an extra crit. So Marcus is deciding if he wants to push here, if, you know, he's trying to maybe remember the cards in hand. Ooh, I believe that pony should not be used, just because, if I'm not mistaken, it can only be used when you've swapped damage. I'm gonna quickly check that. Yeah, as I thought, it is only activatable on the turn that you put a new card into damage. Also, the grade 2 that I kept calling Aratron is Aramaiti. Apologies, Aratron is one of my sweet Gabriel babies, so cannot mistake that. So apologies for the little mix-ups there. You know, as I said, my Angel Feather names aren't all that great. So goes for the third Gust Blaster. That's pretty surprising. Let's see where he's going to put the Force. I think this one can go in a rearguard circle once again. Not sure on which one. I mean, you might want to boost up that Maka and try to push for game there, just because Marcus is on 4 damage and they're all face down. He also magnificently, I'd say, guarded that Feather Palace as well, like with basic ease. And so it was a little bit of a misplay because the pony should not have been used there. He calls down the PBD here as well, which is definitely fine. I mean, it's not much use at this point. He goes down to PG, that's also pretty huge. I guess he knows that it's like, well, his win con is actually not letting me use PGs because it's basically like a waterfall effect. So that's something. So now he's going to attack with a Gust Blaster. Not choosing to retire anything since he doesn't have any damage, so just swinging with the 23 on its own. Still forces out the Protect though, that's nice to see. I mean, basically every turn has been, you know, asking for Protect so far, and so he's gonna drop a card for that PG, gets a crit, that's perfect. I think it needs to go on the PBD. I think it does, although I see another PG, but I think that was a good call because now he can take the 15k on the Feather Palace. Well, he can attack with this, yeah. Force out another PG, attack with this on the Feather Palace, not give him any damage for any kind of plays, and I think this is really the best kind of play he could have done. I think that Tan is playing perfectly right now, literally just not letting his opponent do things and forcing him to guard wherever possible. So definitely a fine play. I don't think there's any problems with that. I think he just drew another PG. He rides another Zera kill here, and so gets the yet another Protect marker. That's the 4th one of this game so far already. He's going to be able to salvage. I know he doesn't have Counter Blast. That card would have been able to salvage something, but no Counter Blast, meaning it's just going to be a 12k, no extra power, nothing too fancy. So it's already a 1 to pass. Tan isn't going to take any risks. He's like, my opponent might be a bit, you know, a little bit, like, what's the word, desperate, so they might try to stack double trigger on Vanguard. He's like, I ain't taking any risks. This is gonna be just a 27, just a 15k will block it because it is, you know, against force. So Tan is cruising so far. Like, obviously his hand is being whittled down here and there, but he's still able to put up. He hasn't seen a single heal yet. The 4th Gust Blaster, that's pretty big, I think. I don't know if it's worth putting it on Vanguard here. Yeah, I think you put it on the other rear guard. Make that Mac Lear into a 25k. Marcus is freaking out. He's like, that's your 4th Gust Blaster? God damn. So he's gonna, ooh, that's a smart play. He plays the Cursed Lancer, meaning that he can call it over another unit, and Soul Blast 1 to countercharge 1, meaning that now the Gust Blaster is available, it is online, and he could potentially be using it to end this game. But thing is, Marcus has a PG and this gives him an extra damage and he gets a defensive. That's not too good, but he needed to do that to use the Gust Blaster here and force out that extra Protect. What are we doing here? Let's see. Marcus first has to retire something because of the Gust Blaster, then he's going to be able to use his Protect if he wants to, which he will, and then he still only has like, what, 3 cards in hand, so he's going to have to bank on Tan not checking too many triggers to block that. So really careful guarding here, Marcus. You need to be careful with your guarding to actually survive this. We see a Karen, we see a Maka. No triggers. That's unfortunate. It's going to be 29 to the 23. Just a 10k will be enough to block it. That 20k isn't even necessary, so, but I think he just wants to keep whatever else he has in hand. I think it might be a grade 3. I'm not too sure. But he only has 2 cards in hand. He needs to try to finish the game here, or it's not going to end up looking too good for him. He really needs to end the game here right now. He needs to bet on Tan's hand being not enough to guard everything. He can counterblast 1 to swap damage now. What will he swap into? It's too late for the Metatron that he was saving up for so long. I think the Almighty is the right pick because he can call it Soul Blast 1 and still be able to call something else out. He's still swapping out damage. The Almighty does go to hand. He calls it to the front row rearguard circle on the right side. Soul Blast 1 is going to be able to call something else. And yes, he's going to take the pony that is looking like a good field. His Vanguard's only 15k. Ooh, the heal from the top deck damage will not be going off. That could have potentially saved him. But let's see. I mean, maybe he doesn't need any saving. Maybe he can just win the game right here. He's only a 15k attack. Does Tan risk it? Drop the 15k for the 2 to pass. So the Almighty is hitting for 20 right now, and the other line is hitting for a, what is it, 22, 25, with the grade 1 pony, the 35, so not even a heal is enough to block that. He needs to be careful here. So 1 to pass, he's just intercepting for the 1 to pass. He doesn't get any triggers. Tan's gamble paid off. He can actually guard all this. A 20k attack coming in, just a 10k needed. He blocks with a Karen, and this is going to be a huge attack. Going to be needing that 25k shield. Does Tan have enough? We see he has a crit in hand. Does he have something else to actually block this? I think he does actually, but he's going to end up with basically no hand for the next turn and not going to be able to use Gust Blaster skill, but maybe doesn't need to win the game. He knows his opponent doesn't have a protect marker. He's checking his drop zone. Please don't tell me he's looking for a heal. Please don't tell me he's giving up hope. Come on, Tan. There has to be some answers in his hand, because otherwise Marcus will have this game. Marcus had a really strong turn just now, finding that Almighty and working with that 1 damage by taking that Almighty and finding a whole board. Oh, he's going to be going. It's a heal! A 6th damage heal! Tan pulls through. Marcus had the game in his hands, but nope. I don't know what kind of hand Tan has right there, but I guess it was not enough to block that pony. I really thought he would have had enough, and maybe he was missing just exactly enough shield. Oh my god. Puts down the PBD, puts down the Maka, Blaster Dark, crit everything, let's go. He's gonna swing, try to boost with the Blaster Dark, get told not to probably. Attacks for the 33, opponent on 5 damage, that's going to need more than 25k shield. That's already a hard one to guard. Can Marcus pull off a miracle too? Does he need to rely on that heal as well? Can he do that? Oh my god, Tan. What a crazy turn right there. This might just be a crazy ending as well, if it's really how it ends, because Marcus doesn't have much in hand. That was, I feels bad, because that was a magnificent showing by Marcus too. That last turn was really strong, and you know, the heal ending it all like that is just so unfortunate, but that's just how it is, you know. I mean, that's just how Standard does play out at times. I mean, Vanguard in general does play out at times like that, you know. That's part of the game, part of the thrill, part of my, you know, entertainment as a commentator. But, you know, let's keep that on the down low. But that was, wow, that was one final, no 6 damage heal. Tan takes the victory. Marcus does come in 2nd place with Bermuda Angels. Tan takes the W with Shadows and Bermuda. So excellent game, series of games from both players. Absolutely amazing final, a lot of high quality play, and just overall a very back and forth best of 3. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. Do check out WCC in the description. Thank you so much to Derek for sending me the footage and letting me commentate this. I super appreciate it, man. So that's gonna be it for me today, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.